Normally, no. At all times, my girlfriend is extremely cold toward me and often violent. But what should I do if one day she suddenly becomes very gentle, cute, beautiful inside and out, and especially clingy, waiting online? Kind of urgent. Don't laugh, everyone. I'm a simp, a very famous one at that, for no other reason than that my goddess, Lin Qingying, is just too beautiful. I've liked her since high school. Even though she had childhood friends, unrequited loves, ambiguous relationships, crushes on seniors and juniors pursuing her, I never gave up chasing her or missed a single chance to please her. Maybe the heavens were moved by my sincerity, or maybe persistence pays off after all. Opportunities favor the prepared. As a pure simp, not even worthy of being a backup, I somehow ended up with my goddess's first time. It was a season of heavy snowfall, and she was walking alone in the park, dressed lightly. I took off my coat and draped it over her shoulders. When she turned and saw it was me, her pretty face instantly turned icy. Then she shrugged slightly, shaking my coat onto the ground. Stop following me. I don't like you. I picked up the coat, gently brushing off the snow, and murmured, I know. She took 2 steps back. If you know, then why do you keep doing this? Do you know how many classmates are laughing at you? I didn't speak, just nodded angrily. She turned to leave, but after a few steps, she spun back and pointed at me. Remember, don't follow me again. With that, she strode away while I, as if deaf, followed anyway. Lin Qingying stood by the park's lake. Though it was snowing, it wasn't too cold, so the lake hadn't frozen yet. She was so beautiful I was mesmerized until suddenly she climbed onto the railing. Before my brain could react, my body surged with adrenaline, and I rushed over, wrapping my arms around her waist and pulling her down. Get off. What are you doing? She scratched and clawed at me, but I held on tight. Her waist was so slender, I only noticed afterward, a simp finally getting a taste of the good life. Suddenly, 2 large hands clamped down on my shoulders from either side. Stay still. We've had our eyes on you for a while. It was 2 police officers. They separated me from Lin Qingying and then pinned me to the ground, reaching for their handcuffs. Plop! Lin Qingying jumped in. My adrenaline spiked again, and without thinking, I dove in after her. I had my goddess in my arms, but I couldn't swim. Lin Qingying thrashed violently in my embrace, but I held on for dear life. Gradually, severe oxygen deprivation kicked in. My body instinctively gasped, swallowing a mouthful of water, and I blacked out. When I woke again, I saw a white ceiling, a half-empty 4 bag, and 2 familiar faces. Officers, is Lin Qingying okay? The 2 officers, now out of uniform, exchanged exasperated looks before stepping aside to reveal Lin Qingying in the next bed. She had woken up before me, staring blankly at the ceiling, silent. Her mother walked in. No tears, no outbursts, no thanks to me or the officers who saved my sorry life. Slap! A sharp crack echoed through the ward. The officers quickly stepped between Lin Qingying and her mother, sternly intervening. Ma'am, what are you doing? Yeah, hitting someone is wrong, especially when they just survived a life-threatening situation. Can't you talk things out? Lin Qingying's mother scoffed arrogantly. I'm disciplining my daughter. What's it to you? She pointed at Lin Qingying. If you want to die, go somewhere far away where no one can see you. What are you putting on a show for? As her words grew harsher, the officers had a nurse escort her out and came back to console her briefly, then praise me a little. It was the first time I'd ever been praised like that in my life, and I felt quite embarrassed. When they learned we were classmates, they asked me, who had also just struggled back from the brink of death, to take good care of her. I puffed out my chest, put on a serious expression, adopted a proper attitude, and said, it's my bounden duty. This made the 2 police officers chuckle, but Lin Qingying just lay there. Forget laughing. She didn't even shed a single tear, stoic beyond what you'd expect from a girl. The nurse informed us both about paying the fees. Logically, since I acted heroically to save someone, my medical expenses should have been covered by Lin Qingying's guardian. But not only did I pay my own medical bills, I paid hers too. Lin Qingying's mother left nothing behind except a slap across her face and some harsh words. James, I'll pay you back the money. She didn't blame me for meddling by saving her, nor did she say I was being presumptuous by insisting on paying her fees. Instead, she just came out with that sentence out of the blue. I waved my hand. Don't worry about it. It's just a small amount. It really was a small amount. Although my parents aren't big bosses, they belong to a comfortably well-off family and were never stingy with my pocket money, perhaps to make up for me being a left-behind child. Ever since I was young, my parents went off to try their luck in the big city, leaving me alone with my aging grandmother, depending on each other. Later, after my grandmother passed away during my third year of junior high, I was the only one left at home. I don't blame my parents for not taking me with them. It was really because of the household registration issues. For the sake of my studies, I had to stay here. It was a truly miserable situation, so when my parents learned I was okay, they just told me not to do such dangerous things in the future and gave me a sum of money to recover properly. Besides taking care of my own food and drink, I also had to look after Lin Qingying. This was the happiest time of my life, being able to stay in the same room with my goddess. I could wake up laughing from my dreams. Lin Qingying asked me while eating wontons, "Aren't you curious why I jumped into the river?" It would be a lie to say I wasn't curious, but I didn't dare ask, afraid she might recall something sad. Not curious. You must have suffered a tremendous injustice. Otherwise, a strong girl like you wouldn't have thought of doing that. She stopped her hand holding the spoon and stared intently at me. I felt like I had a high fever, my face burning hot. "What's wrong?" Lin Qingying resumed, eating her wontons. "Nothing." After finishing eating, as I started clearing the table, she suddenly asked, "Do you really like me?" I froze, suspecting I had misheard, and turned to her for confirmation. "What did you say?" She turned her head away. "Nothing." I got anxious. "Don't nothing me. Everyone in school knows there's a dog tied up under the window of female dorm 2005. She burst out laughing with a sound. This was the first time I'd seen her laugh. I maintained a serious expression. "What are you laughing at?" "What I said is true." She laughed even harder, honking like she'd swallowed a duck. Happy times are always short. In a blink of an eye, it was time for discharge from the hospital. I was reluctant to leave, looking back every few steps. Lin Qingying patted my shoulder. "What are you looking at?" "I'm really a bit reluctant to go." She rolled her eyes at me. "Looks like you haven't fully recovered from your illness. The goddess's home smells nice." It would have been even better without her dad's stern face. Even though it was just hanging on the wall, it always gave me the feeling he was about to jump down and beat me up. It was an old two-bedroom, living room apartment, but it was kept quite clean. Rumor had it that her family lived in a villa. Her parents were big business people, and they drove luxury cars everywhere. Judging by this situation, the rumors couldn't be trusted. She invited me to sit anywhere, then busied herself in the kitchen, asking what I liked to eat. "As long as you make it, I like eating it." I felt like I was dreaming, actually being in my goddess's home and getting to eat food she cooked herself. "Do you live alone?" She suddenly asked me this. I grunted in affirmation. "My parents are both busy away from home." "What about during Chinese New Year?" I casually replied. "I'll go see them over the New Year soon." The meal was ready: steamed rice, scrambled eggs with tomato sauce, and stir-fried shredded potatoes. "Eat more, don't be shy. Is this the kind of treatment a simp like me deserves?" She was being too nice to me, which actually made me uncomfortable. I preferred it when she acted aloof and indifferent toward me. The next day at school, she quickly reverted to her usual cold and aloof demeanor. It made me think the past few days had been an illusion. I went back into simp mode. I felt uneasy if a day went by without fawning over her. Just when I thought I wouldn't even make it as a backup option in this lifetime, Lin Qingying suddenly appeared at my doorstep with her luggage. I rubbed my eyes in disbelief. It wasn't a mirage. "Can I help you?" Lin Qingying pushed her luggage straight into my home. "Didn't you say you were home alone? I can't pay you back anytime soon, so let me work as your housekeeper to repay the debt." What kind of outrageous words were these? Good heavens, my goddess working as my housekeeper? That's the kind of plot you only find on dodgy websites. I rubbed my hands together. "What repayment? Spending money on you is something I do willingly." Her face was cold. "What? Am I not welcome?" "Heavens no," I exclaimed. "You've got it wrong. How could I not welcome you? I wouldn't even dare to dream such a dream." She stood in the living room. "Which room is mine?" "Whichever one you like, Your Highness. I'll clear it out for you right now." She pointed toward my room. "That one will do." "Yes, ma'am." Just as she was about to push the door open, I suddenly remembered something and yelled, "No, not that one." But it was too late. She had already pushed the door open. "You pervert. Why is your room full of my photos? Wouldn't it be more perverted if they weren't yours? She looked at the posterized photos. When did you take all these? I scratched my head sheepishly. Recently. She pointed at a photo of her side profile. You even took candid shots? That's illegal, you know. Spare me, Your Excellency. This lowly one won't dare do it again. She crossed her legs and sat down in my computer chair. Start cleaning up. I immediately got to work. This wasn't getting a housekeeper. It was like getting an ancestor to serve. When I finally finished cleaning, my back aching from exhaustion, she suddenly laid down 3 rules. First, absolutely no one was allowed to know she was staying at my place. Second, although she was my housekeeper, I couldn't ask her to do anything that interfered with her studies. Third, the toilet seat must be kept down and the bathroom door locked when occupied. Fourth, a minimum of 3 items of clothing must be worn when in the living room. She even wrote them down and stuck the list on the door, calling it the guy-startling agreement. So I'd see it every time I opened the door. As long as I could see her every day, I'd put up with anything. And so, during the day, we went to school separately, one after the other, and at night, we returned home using different means of transport. As the simp to my own housekeeper, grocery shopping and cleaning the house became my essential daily activities. At school, some busybodies asked me why I wasn't hanging around outside the girls' dorm anymore. Someone else who followed the goddess's movements like me answered for me. Campus Belle Lynn is commuting now, not living on campus. No wonder our dog God isn't living on campus either. Too bad. No more free soup dumplings, soy milk, milk tea, scallion pancakes. We lived together like this for half a year. Based on the minimum wage for a housekeeper, she should have paid off her debt by now, but she showed no signs of leaving, and I couldn't possibly kick her out. Until I placed 1,000 yuan in front of her. She looked at me, confused. What's this? I looked down, embarrassed. Housekeeping service fee. I know it might be a little low, but don't worry, I'll definitely make it up to you later. It was hard to tell from her expression whether she was angry or just unhappy. Anyway, she slammed the door shut and didn't open it until dinner time. Worried she might be hungry, I asked, how about we go out for hot pot tonight? No, it's a waste. My treat, I said. It's rare for me to have a break. She reluctantly agreed. As luck would have it, we ran into classmates celebrating a birthday. It was unavoidable, so we had to go over and say hello. I thought it would cause a huge stir, some earth-shattering news, but nobody made a big deal out of it. Everyone just carried on with their usual routines. I figured maybe it was because we'd been seen together so many times that people thought it was normal for the goddess and me to show up anywhere at the same time. Of course, appearing in my place wasn't normal, especially with that portrait of her looking like she wanted to beat me up hanging in her bedroom. I was puzzled. Why didn't she go back to her own home? If she was afraid of being lonely, she could stay in the dorm. Why stay in my place? Could it be that she liked me? I quickly dismissed this unrealistic thought. She was the goddess, after all, acknowledged by everyone. I just fantasized about being with the goddess. If there was anyone similar to me, it would be a star chaser. Although the popular term now is solo stan. It's just that the person I stan isn't that famous. If I took it a step further, I'd be a saucing fan. My current situation hovered somewhere between a solo stan and a saucing fan. I was in the kitchen preparing food when I suddenly heard Lin Qingying call me from the bathroom. I immediately dropped what I was doing and rushed over. She was holding a bar of soap I had just bought. What kind of soap is this you bought? It barely lathers. I took the soap from her hand and tore off the plastic film. To my surprise, she slapped me. What are you yelling about? The silence that followed was deafening. When it came to Chinese New Year, I thought she would finally go home, and it was time for me to visit my parents. She left the day before me. After setting up the webcam my parents had sent me in the living room, I left too. Having spent this past year with the goddess, my understanding of her had deepened somewhat. I felt so happy, so pleased inside. The only regret was that I didn't know who to share this with, having no support club or fan group. Suddenly, my phone app notified me of movement detected. I opened the monitoring feed and saw the lights were on. I immediately checked the playback, curiously wondering if a burglar had actually broken in during the new year. Selecting the time frame flagged for human presence, I saw Lin Qingying returning to the house, carrying a box of instant noodles and a large bag of frozen dumplings. I may be a simp, but I'm not an idiot. I quickly realized she wasn't planning on going home. It seemed she was still angry with her mother, so I transferred 2,000 yuan to her, adding a Happy New Year message. Surprisingly, she didn't accept it and sent it back, saying she didn't need it. Usually, I was the one buying groceries and all sorts of daily necessities. I hadn't seen her buy anything for the place. The only valuable things she probably owned now were those few suitcases, although I'd never seen her open them. While with my parents, my favorite thing to do each day was watch the surveillance feed, watching her alone with the TV on, eating instant noodles on New Year's Eve. She cooked the frozen dumplings, and after eating, she curled up on the sofa to keep watching TV, and then I watched her fall asleep there. On the sixth day of the Lunar New Year, the surveillance feed suddenly went offline. I got anxious. The home internet bill wasn't overdue, and there were no issues with the electricity bill. I called her, and she answered. I asked where she was. She said she was at her own home. I tried to video call her, but she rejected the call, so I, who usually procrastinated returning until the day before school started, bought an early ticket and went back home. My parents were busy with work and didn't ask too many questions. They packed a lot of things for me and told me to take care of myself. Eager to be back, I opened the door to my home and saw Lin Qingying, whom I hadn't seen in a while. Our eyes met. She panicked. Didn't you say you wouldn't be back for a long time? Why are you back so suddenly? I put my things down and answered casually. I got bored staying there, so I came back early. She didn't say much, just swiftly cleaned up the kitchen while I was getting ready to give her a gift. The power was out at home. I found out the fuse had blown. She had tried to fix it, which was too dangerous. I called a professional electrician for a house call, and only then did everything return to normal. I don't know how she managed in the dark these past few days. Knowing she hadn't eaten well lately, I prepared a feast of meat and fish along with a bottle of imported red wine. She claimed she was tired of rich food these days, but she ate plenty of what I had prepared. The two of us finished a bottle of wine. Feeling it wasn't quite enough, we then took out my dad's treasure collection to drink. There are two dreams you should never have at night. One is looking for a toilet and finding it. The other is dreaming of doing your favorite thing with the person you like. Turns out I had both dreams. Waking up the next day, seeing the bright red blood, I knew what I had done. She said nothing, just got up, washed the bed sheets and duvet cover, and told me to go buy medicine from the pharmacy 2 streets away. Like a child who had done wrong, I just kept nodding. If she wanted my life right then, I wouldn't hesitate. Wherever she told me to die, I'd die there. Wherever she told me to be buried, I'd be buried there. Before, she was only cold to me at school. Now, at home, she treated me even worse than at school. Can't you understand plain language? How many times have I told you not to lift the toilet seat? Why can't you remember? You sure know how to relax. What time is it? Go make dinner. Quick. I was sitting on the sofa playing on my phone when my mom happened to call. Miss you. Slap. The sound-activated light in the hallway turned on. Son, are you coming home for a break? Mom has prepared. My mouth was clamped shut tightly by Lin Qingying, tears of grievance welling up in my eyes. I'm sorry. I finally couldn't help but apologize to her, but her face remained cold, and she said nothing. How should I compensate you? She retorted. Why compensate? I was speechless for a moment, even dazed. Was what happened that night real or not? But I was sure it was real because Lin Qingying was now my girlfriend. Although she didn't treat me well, she publicly acknowledged her status as my girlfriend. It's just that we never did that kind of thing again. She still lived in my house, each of us in separate rooms. The school forum exploded. The campus bell had actually fallen for a simp? Was it a distortion of human nature or a moral decline? Anyway, I became the center of attention. Everywhere I went, people asked me for tips, wanted to know how I did it. How could I answer? Nothing to it, really. Just persistent effort. Keep simping, and eventually, they get used to it. But even though the campus belle acknowledged me as her boyfriend, I was still like a simp. Her attitude towards me was no different than before. I hadn't even held her hand in public because I didn't dare. Of course, not in private, either. So after a few days, the students all thought the campus belle had only pretended to accept me as her boyfriend to reject other suitors. Once this rumor spread, everyone believed it. Even I started to believe it. If it weren't for the fact that she lived in a room next to mine and we were together every day, I would have thought I was just being used as a shield. And so it went, until graduation. When we both started working, she finally moved out of my house. I didn't say anything to try and keep her, just silently helped her pack her luggage. She refused to let me go to her new place. I cried and chased the taxi for a distance, but I didn't shout that line. How can I live without you? Opening the door, looking at the empty home, it felt as if something important had been lost. From then on, I couldn't muster any enthusiasm for anything. But it seemed she hadn't broken up with me either. In that case, I was still her official boyfriend, so my fighting spirit rekindled. If you're going to be a simp, simp all the way. I applied for a job at her company and ran into the person I least wanted to see, her childhood friend, Xiao Jibao. I wasn't sure if Lin Qingying had come to this company just because Xiao Jibao was here. Xiao Jibao was truly good to his childhood friend, chauffeuring her back and forth and even arranging a very easy, well-paying position for her. Lin Qingying also seemed genuinely happy in his presence. It was a joy that came from the heart. Xiao Jibao was the boss's son. Everyone saw his meticulous attentiveness towards Lin Qingying, so they all took special care of her too. Conversely, as her ex-boyfriend, though we hadn't officially broken up, I was practically invisible at the company. Even if I acted like a sycophant, people would just laugh at me for not knowing my place. The rich end up together, the poor just get to watch. Later, Lin Qingying gained a close confidant, Lu Ruyan, also a colleague at our company, though in a different department. The two were practically joined at the hip, wearing matching outfits, using the same makeup, even identical jewelry. They often went shopping, took photos, watched movies, traveled, and posted on their social media together. Later, Xiao Jibao joined them, and the three were often seen together in photos. Lu Ruyan told Lin Qingying, "If you get married, I'll definitely be your bridesmaid." Just when everyone, myself included, thought Lin Qingying was about to become Mrs. Xiao, she suddenly moved back into my place. I was bewildered. "Did you fight with Xiao Jibao?" She shook her head. "No." "Why do you ask? Then why are you back?" Just like years ago, she put her hands on her hips. "My lease is up. Couldn't find a suitable place. Not welcome." I grinned, about to say, "Welcome," but my expression immediately turned serious. "If you stay here, won't Mr. Xiao get angry?" Lin Qingying pushed her luggage towards me. "What's there for him to be angry about? I'm moving into my boyfriend's place. What does it have to do with him?" My face flushed instantly. "You said? I'm your boyfriend." She rolled her eyes at me, flopped onto the sofa, her high heels landing one here, one there. "Hurry up and unpack my luggage. I'm hungry. We're eating out tonight. My treat." I quickly fetched her slippers, placed them beside her feet, and took an epic, deep breath. After I finished tidying up, she changed into a pair of flat shoes and intimately linked her arm with mine. I looked up at the sky, curious. She looked up, too, but saw nothing. "What are you looking at?" "Just checking which direction the sun set today," she retorted coquettishly. "Who are you making insinuations about?" At dinner, she actually sat next to me. You have to understand, previously, she couldn't wait to be miles away from me during meals. When things are this abnormal, something strange must be going on. But as a licking dog, how could I possibly care? If she's good to me, I'll be good to her. If she's not good to me, I'll still be good to her. After dinner, back home, Lin Qingying, whom I always served, actually brought me my slippers. I pinched myself hard. It wasn't a dream. When she changed into sexy sleepwear and stood before me, I felt like I was getting a nosebleed. "Do I look good?" Thumbs up with both hands. "Absolutely gorgeous." That night, she actually suggested we sleep in the same bed. She hadn't been drinking. She was completely sober. I was like a nervous little rabbit, or maybe more like a fish on a chopping block. She felt unfamiliar to me, as if her body had been taken over. I thought it would only be like this at home, but unexpectedly, it continued at work. She came up to me right there in front of everyone, wearing a smile even brighter than the one she showed Xiao Jibao. I instantly became the center of office gossip, with everyone speculating why Lin Qingying was treating me this way. My supervisor even specifically pulled me aside for a talk, telling me to be mindful of boundaries. She was Mr. Jibao's girlfriend, he warned. Don't get used as a pawn just because they might be having a little relationship trouble. How was I supposed to explain this to my supervisor? After all, he meant well, and besides, Lin Qingying was the one who had initiated contact with me. She used to hang out with Lu Ruyan a lot, but recently, I could clearly feel that they were slowly drifting back to just being regular colleagues. Lin Qingying and Lu Ruyan had a massive argument, disturbing the entire office. It even got to the point where security had to be called. As Lin Qingying's boyfriend, I had to go over, but my supervisor pulled me into the stairwell, telling me to stay away from the battlefield. He took out a cigarette and offered it to me. James, it's best if you don't go. You won't solve anything by going over there, and you might just make things worse. I didn't take the cigarette from my supervisor and told him I knew how to handle it. By the time I got to the scene, the two had already been taken into the general manager's office. From the bits and pieces I overheard from colleagues nearby, I pieced things together and got a general idea of what had happened. Lu Ruyan had gone to Lin Qingying to get reimbursed for her business trip expenses, airfare, hotel accommodation, and meal costs. Lin Qingying made things difficult, citing a new company policy that capped accommodation at 150 yuan and meals at 30 yuan. She claimed Lu Ruyan had exceeded the limits severely. Lu Ruyan tolerated that, but then Lin Qingying added that the company required train travel for short to medium distances and flights only for long distances, so the airfare couldn't be reimbursed. Lu Ruyan argued that the plane ticket had actually been cheaper than a train ticket. Lin Qingying simply said 2 words, policy. Lu Ruyan snapped and just went off on her. Lin Qingying couldn't win the verbal argument, but she was quick to resort to physical action and didn't hold back at all, landing a slap right across her face. It stunned Lu Ruyan, who took a moment to recover, but after getting hit again, the two started physically fighting. Xiao Jibao naturally sided with Lin Qingying. Aside from them being childhood friends, just the fact that Lin Qingying was in finance meant he had to back her up on this. Lu Ruyan obviously didn't agree, but she didn't continue to cause a. It was unclear whether she planned to just swallow this grievance silently or if she had something else planned. After work, Lin Qingying came straight over to me and said she wanted to go home together. Her voice wasn't loud, but it hit like a thunderclap. Colleagues turned to look, astonished. I shifted uncomfortably. Why don't you go ahead? I still have some things to do, need to work overtime. To my surprise, Lin Qingying grabbed an empty chair and sat down next to me. Then I'll wait for you, she said. Feeling everyone's eyes on me, I wished I could find a hole to crawl into. Logically, as a well-known simp, I should be thick-skinned, but while I never felt ashamed pursuing Lin Qingying, these casual words from her now made me feel like I was on pins and needles, with thorns on my back and a lump in my throat. Maybe my supervisor sensed the awkwardness, too, because he quickly told me to hand over my work and let me go home early. Just as we reached the company entrance, a sports car pulled up in front of us. The window rolled down, revealing Xiao Jibao, who looked seriously at Lin Qingying and said, "Can we talk?" I was about to make myself scarce to give them some privacy, but unexpectedly, Lin Qingying grabbed my hand. "What's there to talk about? If I had known you'd had such a hard time all these years, I would definitely have helped you." A corner of Lin Qingying's mouth lifted into a smile. She leaned her head against my shoulder. "Who said I've had a hard time? My James treats me very well," she said, turning to look at me. "Darling, let's go home, shall we?" I glanced at Xiao Jibao's sullen face, then back at Lin Qingying, who now only had eyes for me. "Okay," I said. "Let's go home." Behind us, the engine roared. Xiao Jibao slammed on the accelerator as if in retaliation and sped off. Although I had many questions, my curiosity wasn't particularly strong, especially when it came to my goddess. Whatever she said went. I believed her unconditionally. That evening she cooked a feast for me. Apart from the scrambled eggs with ketchup and shredded potatoes she'd made before, I never knew she was such a good cook. She looked at me, her eyes sparkling. "Is it good?" I nodded. "It's incredibly delicious. This is the best meal I've had in my entire 20-something years. Hey, let me tell you something." Suddenly, her tone was playful, but her eyes were serious. I asked what it was. My face betrayed no hint of curiosity or expectation. To me, whatever she did, whatever she said, was simply right and proper, like accepting both storms and blessings from above. Full of excitement, she wrapped her arms around my neck. "Let's start a business together." Start a business? What a common term. Okay. She clearly didn't expect me to agree so readily. "Aren't you going to ask what kind of business or why we're starting one?" I shook my head. "It doesn't matter. As long as you want to, I'll do anything." She took the initiative to kiss me. Was this something a simp dared to even dream of? The next day at work, I was called to the conference room by Xiao Jibao's secretary. His gaze was sinister, looking at me like he was examining a prisoner. Are you and Lin Qingying really boyfriend and girlfriend? Are you two really living together? I nodded. That's right. He gestured for me to sit down. I didn't stand on ceremony and sat directly opposite him. He crossed his hands, resting his chin on them. State your conditions. I was puzzled. What conditions? Leave her. You can name any condition, provided I find it acceptable. I leaned back in my chair, making myself more comfortable. Can I ask why I should leave her? Xiao Jibao raised an eyebrow. Are you really that blind? Or just plain dumb? I like Lin Qingying. The whole company knows. I don't believe nobody has warned you. Yeah, I know, I acknowledged. So what? You like her, I like her too. What business is that of mine? He tapped the conference table lightly with his knuckles. Don't you think it's awkward for two people who like her to be in the same company? I shrugged. Not really. Lu and Li both like the same female celebrity. I haven't seen them feel awkward. They often discuss their fan experiences together. You got a bit hysterical. How can that be the same? I intend to marry Lin Qingying. I hit him right where it hurt. But she's my girlfriend now. So you must leave. Is it because I work here that she refused to be with you? Are you kidding me? How many years have I pined after Lin Qingying? How many people have tried to pursue her? But I am her boyfriend now. This isn't just moving up from being the backup plan. This is the ultimate comeback for a simp. He felt like he'd punched cotton, furious beyond measure. You really are an expert at playing dumb. Fine, I'll tell you straight. You're fired. Rest it up, okay? Remember to deposit the severance pay into my account. Finished speaking, I walked to the conference room door. Anything else? Get out. After packing my things, I came out and ran into Lin Qingying, who was also packing up to leave. You got fired too? She tapped my nose playfully. I resigned voluntarily. I thought she was joking, but I didn't expect her to actually be serious about starting a business. She had already chosen the location and the type of business, and she made me the company's legal representative. Things could go wrong. I might end up inside. But whatever, as long as she's happy. However, the business project was quite safe. The chances of ending up inside weren't high. I felt slightly relieved. I'm the company's legal representative, chairman, CEO, CEO's secretary, head of logistics, and chief of security. She is the CFO, supervisor, CEO, and canteen chef. Every day, the CEO, her, and the chairman, me, had a great time together. As long as she gave the order, I'd go through fire and water. First, we mortgaged the house, then asked my family for the betrothal money, then took out loans. She was very confident about the project. I also analyzed the possibilities. The risk factor was too high. The chance of losing money was huge. But I still ensured she was happy every day. An unexpected guest arrived at the office. Xiao Jibao looked at the simple surroundings and asked Lin Qingying, "Why are you putting yourself through this?" She said earnestly, "Doing what I love with the person I love. How could that be hardship? Brother Xiao, I've told you before, we have a childhood bond, but it isn't love. It's like a shooting star you couldn't wish upon in time, so there's really no chance for us at all. Brother Xiao, one last piece of advice. Be careful of Lu Ruyan. That's all I have to say. Goodbye." Finished speaking, she turned to look at me. "Chairman, see our guest out." I quickly stopped typing, got up, and jogged over right away. "Mr. Xiao, please take care on your way out." Xiao Jibao glared at me. "No need. You two just carry on playing house here." With that, he stormed off. I turned to look at Lin Qingying, who was already busy again. Okay, he's gone. Lin Qingying beckoned to me. "Darling, come over here." I walked over, thinking she had found something important, but it turned out she wanted me to pick a car, a luxury car worth over $1 million. "Just pick whichever one you like." Looks like I'd have to ask my parents for money. Oh well, I'm their only son. Who else would they give it to? Setting that aside, just hearing Lin Qingying call me darling felt worth $1 million. That's too half-hearted. "So what color do you like?" I blurted out, "Pomegranate red." That was Lin Qingying's favorite lipstick shade. Unexpectedly, her expression tightened. "I meant the color you like." I replied, "My favorite color is your favorite color. As long as you like the color, that's the color I like." Lin Qingying rolled her eyes at me. Simp. But she immediately smiled. "All right, let's choose white then. It looks more formal and classy, suitable for both personal driving and business." I thought she was just joking, but unexpectedly, a few days later, I received a call from the dealership about picking up the car. Did you call the wrong number? The person on the other end confirmed. Is this Mr. James, chairman of BOA Company? Yes, that's me. The person continued. The car your company purchased outright has arrived. If it's inconvenient for you to come, another employee from your company can handle the process. I glanced at Lin Qingying, still engrossed in her work with her head down. No need. I'll go myself. After I hung up, Lin Qingying asked without looking up, has the car arrived? You really bought it? Does our company even have that much money? Still looking down, busy with who knows what, she replied. Of course. Since we have money, can we pay off the bank loan first? I'm getting anxious. I walked up behind her, thinking she must be working on something critical, only to find she was playing a tile-matching game. What's there to be anxious about? This is called rational cash flow planning and optimizing capital structure. Interest rates are low now. We can leverage this money for many things. All right. When it came to money matters, she was much more knowledgeable than I was. I didn't even know how we made our first pot of gold. Somehow, the company had become worth tens of millions. It was a huge leap. In just a few months, we'd earned more than my parents had in over a decade of hard work. It really is true that if you catch the right tailwind, even a pig can fly. Lin Qingying rented a new office building, bought loads of office supplies, and purchased another car, but she simply refused to hire anyone. I asked her what she was doing. She shrugged, saying the company didn't need that many people right now. I was curious, if we didn't need that many people, why rent such a large office? Unexpectedly, her answer was simple. It's cheap. I counted on my fingers, but I couldn't figure it out. The old place was over $6,000 a month. This new one is over $30,000. How is that cheaper? She explained that the old place cost over 3 yuan per square meter per day, while this new place costs only 90 cents per square meter per day. How had I never realized before that Lin Qingying was so savvy with numbers? One day, Lin Qingying asked me what I'd like to do. I smiled and said, I like being your boyfriend. Although she was used to sweet talk, she laughed out loud. I meant to ask if you have a project you'd like to work on. This time, you'll lead the team yourself with full responsibility. I'll handle the logistics. I did have a project I was interested in, but how could just the two of us possibly manage it? She gave me the title of personnel manager, empowering me to recruit my own team. Watching her formally place the letter of appointment in my hands, I felt like I was receiving an imperial edict. I nearly knelt and shouted, Long live your majesty. Overcome with excitement, I hugged her spontaneously, and she didn't resist, something absolutely impossible before. Just as my project was getting underway in full swing, Xiao Jibao showed up again. This time, however, he wasn't here to mock me, but to beg for help. His company was facing a severe financial crisis. Its cash flow was on the verge of collapse. He hoped I could lend him some bridging funds, or, better yet, inject capital to help his company survive. I told him that the financial power rested with Lin Qingying. Although I was nominally the chairman, I was really just a hapless worker. Lin Qingying's response was blunt. No loan. No matter how much Xiao Jibao reminisced about old times, she turned a deaf ear and stone-heartedly ordered him to leave. Only this time, it wasn't me who showed him out, but the security guards. Later, I heard that Lu Ruyin had somehow become his girlfriend. Then there was a major screw-up on one of their projects. She tried unsuccessfully to pass the buck to the company's finance department and ended up under investigation. Everything unfolded just as Lin Qingying had predicted. If the two of us hadn't left that company back then, we likely would have been the ones taking the fall. I felt my project was executed successfully, but the market response was lukewarm. To put it plainly, it lost money. I was deeply dejected, waiting for Lin Qingying's criticism like a child who had done something wrong. But not only did she not scold me, she even obtained a wealth-attracting talisman for me, personally hung it around my neck, and reassured me. Don't worry, the market isn't mature yet. Keep working on it, and it will be. Unexpected rewards. Lin Qingying didn't just offer words of comfort. She continued to inject substantial funds into my project. I focused intently on the project's progress while also working tirelessly day and night, running market promotions for the product. She would prepare hearty meals for me at work, cook nutritious congee, and tell me, no matter how busy you are, you must eat properly. I was profoundly moved, especially because she would personally stay by my side. The project truly became a success because of it. Boa Company became an industry unicorn, and it was all thanks to Lin Qingying. I seized the opportunity at the celebration banquet to propose to her, and she accepted in front of all the employees. As I slipped the ring onto the finger she willingly extended, tears welled in her eyes, and she kissed me spontaneously. The venue erupted in thunderous applause, cheers, and shouts of blessing. The next day, we took our documents and went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Just as the official was about to stamp the document with the seal, a sharp voice barked from the doorway, "Don't stamp it. You mustn't." We both turned simultaneously. To our surprise, it was Lin Qingying's estranged biological mother and Xiao Jibao. The official looked at them. "Who are you?" Lin Qingying's mother grabbed her daughter's hand tightly. "Who am I? I am her biological mother." The clerk looked her up and down. "I can see that. But you can't take her away." Lin Qingying's biological mother pointed angrily at the clerk. "Why can't I take her away? She's my daughter. What right do you have to interfere?" The clerk was probably in a bad mood today. It was rare enough to get a couple getting married, and now someone was causing trouble. "What do you mean I have no right? Who's getting married here?" Lin Qingying's biological mother slammed her hand on the table. "Let me tell you, if I don't want them to get married, they won't be able to. Believe it or not." The clerk directly pressed down the official seal. "This young couple is getting married, and you're here shouting and screaming, acting so self-righteous." I almost thought the seal in my hand was fake. Xiao Jibao looked at the seal on the certificate. "How could you just stamp it? I'm going to file a complaint against you." The clerk pointed at him. "Shut up. Keep arguing, and I'll stamp you too. I've worked here for 5 years, and this is the first time someone told me this isn't my business." Now we were a legally married couple, protected by law. So when Lin Qingying's biological mother habitually raised her hand to hit her, I grabbed her wrist directly. "Let go. I'm disciplining my daughter. What business is it of yours?" I tightened my grip. "She's your daughter, but she's also my wife. If you do this again, I won't hold back." Lin Qingying's biological mother struggled hard against my grip. "Help. Someone help. Murder." The clerk pointed to the surveillance camera overhead. "If you keep shouting and raving nonsense like this, I'll call security." Lin Qingying's biological mother pointed at me. "Let go of me. This isn't over." Saying this, she and Xiao Jibao turned and left. Lin Qingying was already covered in tears. After giving the wedding candies I had prepared to the clerk, I hugged Lin Qingying. "Thank you so much for today." "Nothing to thank me for. It's my duty. What's most important is that you two live a good life together. I wish you both a long and happy marriage." After thanking the clerk again profusely, I left with Lin Qingying. However, Lin Qingying's biological mother hadn't gone far. She and Xiao Jibao were standing by my car, arms crossed, waiting for us with an air of arrogance. Lin Qingying turned, directly linked her arm through mine, and walked away. She then called her company secretary and gave 2 instructions. First, to drive the car back. Second, to prevent the 2 of them from causing trouble at the company. I knew those 2 wouldn't give up easily, so behind Lin Qingying's back, I found her biological mother. I looked at the woman before me, in her late 50s, almost 60, yet still exquisitely dressed. "Auntie, what exactly do you want?" "Divorce." I got up and poured her a cup of Longjing tea. "Is there no room for negotiation?" "Not divorcing is also an option. I want all her shares, and you have to give me a bride price of 200 million. "On what grounds?" Lin Qingying suddenly appeared. "I didn't know how she knew we were meeting here. Just based on the fact that I'm your mother. I gave birth to you." Lin Qingying's voice suddenly rose. "You gave birth to me?" "Yes. But did you raise me? Did you ever take care of me for even a single day?" "What do you mean I didn't? Without me, could you have grown this big?" "But after my dad died." Lin Qingying's biological mother suddenly cut her off. "Don't mention that dead ghost. Anyway, you're my daughter, a piece of my own flesh, so you have to listen to me." Lin Qingying pulled me up from the chair. "Remember this. We have no relationship anymore. Don't even think about getting a single cent from me. If you keep pestering me, don't blame me for being harsh." Finished speaking, she looked at me. "And you are not allowed to have any contact with her ever again. Understand?" I immediately nodded. "Wife, I was wrong. I won't dare do it again." Lin Qingying's biological mother hung banners outside the company building, loudly cursing me and Lin Qingying for not supporting her, calling our company unscrupulous and urging everyone to boycott our products. This demonstrated the benefit of a unicorn company, its irreplaceability. Without competitors stirring things up, the company's normal operations weren't affected. I held a meeting with the security department and gave a strict order. If anyone caused trouble within a few miles of the company again, and it wasn't resolved within half an hour, they would all be fired, regardless of the methods used. The company has a professional legal team. If anything happened, salaries would be paid as usual, and bonuses would be doubled. When her first plan failed, Lin Qingying's biological mother came up with another. She found a renowned local mediation team. She attempted to use public opinion for moral blackmail, but she didn't expect that money truly could do anything. I directly contacted a top executive at the TV station, offering sponsorships and doubling the annual advertising fees in exchange for a complete media blackout of Lin Qingying's biological mother. I don't know which clever person gave her the idea, but she actually found my parents, constantly calling them in-laws this and in-laws that. My parents, having been in business for so many years, are incredibly shrewd. After finding out what was going on, my parents calmly bought plane tickets and flew to my city. They left her with the three maids, staring blankly at each other. She tried ordering the maids around, acting like the mother-in-law, but these maids were locals, known for being tough, and they wouldn't put up with her at all. My parents asked about the reasons behind the situation. Although they didn't really need to ask, after spending a few days with her, they already understood what Lin Qingying's mother was like. Lin Qingying showed me something, a declaration severing her relationship with her mother, notarized by the public notary office. This was the freedom she had bought by giving up the only house her father had left her. She had originally planned to reveal it when the trouble was at its peak to silence the gossip, but she didn't expect that I would shut the whole thing down directly. There was one thing I was very curious about. Why was Lin Qingying's biological mother so cruel to her own daughter? As the saying goes, even a vicious tiger won't eat its cubs. Could she be more vicious than a tiger? Lin Qingying told me that even before her father died, her mother had already found her next partner. However, that man died just a few years later, so she took the money from Lin Qingying's father and the previous man and found another one. This one didn't die, but he loved mahjong, had terrible luck, and even worse playing etiquette. However, he was exceptionally good to Lin Qingying's mother, even driving his own elderly father out to the suburbs for her. However, his elderly father later secretly sold the house, and his whereabouts became unknown. The couple was asked to leave the house by the new owner. With nowhere else to go, they set their sights on Lin Qingying's house. They stopped at nothing to get the house. Lin Qingying, as the daughter, could only be forced to compromise. But to avoid future disturbances, she proposed severing ties. To get the house quickly, Lin Qingying's mother cooperated fully, and so, with nowhere else to go, she ended up staying at our place. My parents, their hearts aching for her, held Lin Qingying and promised that from then on, she would be their own daughter. The more I listened, the more something felt off. I quickly interrupted, "That won't do. We're already legally married." As the story draws to a close, Xiao Jibao's company ended in bankruptcy liquidation. Lu Ruyan, unsurprisingly, is likely in prison stepping on the sewing machine. As childhood friends, logically, Lin Qingying should have helped them, but she told me that not kicking them while they were down was already being considerate of their past relationship. Meanwhile, Lin Qingying's troublesome biological mother was angered by my parents' three maids to the point of suffering partial paralysis. We initially didn't want to deal with her, but out of basic human decency, we arranged for her to be placed in a nursing home. During the Spring Festival, our family started preparations for the New Year's Eve dinner early. In the kitchen, fragrant aromas filled the air. One maid skillfully mixed the dumpling filling while the other two helped wrap dumplings nearby, their cheerful laughter echoing through the house. The two of us, working far from home, finally rushed back, bringing New Year gifts for everyone. Our young daughter cheered and threw herself in my dad's arms. The whole family gathered together, sharing moments from the past year. After dinner, the two elders took the child out to play. Once the maids finished clearing the table, they each went home. Standing by the window, touching Lin Qingying's slightly bulging belly, I asked, "Honey, can I ask you something?" She turned to look at me. "What is it?" With a serious expression, I asked the question I'd kept hidden in my heart for more than a decade. "Why did you choose me as your husband back then?" She turned back to look out at the city lights. Do you believe in fate and reincarnation? I nodded. I do. I believe whatever you say. That's why I chose you.